Now next is historical changes and the rising importance of tertiary sectors. So historical change in sector, primary sector dominance, improved agricultural outputs, rise of factories and secondary sectors, shift to the tertiary sectors. Now let's look up to the theory as well. Now initially the primary sector was the most important sector in any developed country. True. Improved agricultural outputs over time have enabled a shift to other sectors in developed and developing countries. So we are getting an idea that primary sector was basically considered to be the base. Now moving forward, so basically the history tells us that there has been a very visible shift between your secondary sector to tertiary sector. Like earlier there were a lot of peoples that were in secondary sector, but it's been very visible that now more people are in your tertiary sector. Reason being that there is you can say variety of jobs, variety of different levels of jobs that are now available in tertiary sector. So this is what history has shown us. So you can definitely elaborate this in your answer. Moving forward, they are asking, correct and arrange the important aspects of calculating GDP from this jumble. So you can simply say the answer. So let's say to count goods and services, we add the number that are produced. We count all those that were produced in last 5 years. Since we shouldn't leave out anything, we add up all these goods and services. So you can definitely, with this you can say that, let's take from here, that we count the value of all those final goods and services that are produced in particular year, not in last 5 years. So yeah, this will be a total statement that basically we count the value of all those final goods and services that were produced in particular year, like that are produced in particular year, instead of using that in the last 5 years. Because if you remember carefully the definition of GDP, it says in particular year. So if you will be using the last 5 years one, so it will be wrong. So make sure that you don't use it. Now it's saying that discuss with your teacher how you could calculate the total value of goods and services, which is GDP, using the value added method. Okay, so to be very honest, it's very easy, so don't be confused in this. I'll just write the formula over here. So basically your GVA, which is gross value added, is equal to GDP plus SP minus PP. SP means subsidy on product, TP means taxes on product. So in the question itself, for both of them, you will be provided with certain percentage. Okay, now on which term you need to put that percentage, this is something that you must be having doubted, but this is something that's very easy. That GDP, how you will be calculating GDP in question itself, definitely you will be not be getting any amount and GDP will be written on it. No, this is not something that can happen. It can happen if there is question of only 1 marker, then it can definitely happen, but not in 5 to 6 marker. No. So what will happen is you will be given amount of so many government, private consumption, gross investments. So you have to add all of them, and then there will be some if in case there is some import amount and export amount that is given to you, make sure that you minus, and the whatever will be the subtracted amount, make sure then you are adding it into the amount that you just got by adding the one that I told you, investment, any private consumption, any gross amount that's written. So by calculating all of them, you will be getting your final GDP. You will be getting your final GDP using the GVA method. So I hope this is clear to you. Moving forward, primary, secondary and tertiary sectors in India. The distribution of GDP across sectors has changed considerably in the last 40 years. Okay, so rupees in crore, and there are 2 years, and over here total 4 years, and there has been a scale: primary, secondary and tertiary. So in between 1973 and 1974, this is our primary. So primary was only like less than 5 lakh crore. Secondary was a bit up, and tertiary was the one that crossed. Okay. But over here, if we see in 2013 and 2014, tertiary sectors have actually crossed 5 crore, 5 lakhs. Wow, that's pretty amazing. Okay, now let's see. There are a few questions. So, which was the largest producing sector in 1973 and 1974? So, the largest producing sector in 1973 and 1974 is your primary sector. Second question is, which is the largest producing sector in 2013 and 2014? Okay, so if I remember, the largest producing sector in the year 2013 and 2014 was your tertiary sector. Now, next is, can you say which sector has grown the most over 40 years? Definitely tertiary sector. The green color is in my mind. Moving forward, what was the GDP of India in 2013 and 2014? So students, answer to this you'll definitely get when you will twist back just a bit. Okay, so the answer to this is 2,10,000 crores. Since all of this rupees was already said that rupees in crores, so the answer is 2,10,000 crores. You can definitely check back while just flipping one slide back. So this is the answer. Moving forward, rising importance of the tertiary sector. Okay, this is nice. Now, the growth of tertiary sector in the last 40 years can be attributed to the need of basic services, increased development in primary and secondary sector, very important point, rising income levels, technological advances. Okay, disparities in the service sector, educated workers with specialized skills, unskilled and semi-skilled workers. So basically, from the picture only we can make out that the people who are educated and who are able to learn skills a bit quickly as compared to the rest were the one that were seen in offices, which is your tertiary sector, and the rest remained in the other sector. Now, moving forward, let us see where are most of the people employed. So over here again we are provided with a graph. So let's see, more than 50% of workers in India are still in the primary sector, especially agriculture, contributing to only 1/6 of the GDP. So over here around 4 years are given to us as to between 1977 and 1978. Majority of the people used to work in primary, few used to work in secondary, and rest used to work in tertiary. Now, the difference. The primary we can see has shifted a bit low, whereas there has been a increased in the shift of the people who are working in secondary, so as in tertiary. So the people who used to work earlier here in this sector have now been shifted. Okay, so let's see. Underemployment and disguised unemployment. A family of 4 work to sow a small piece of land in the village. So now this is the example of your underemployment. Now disguise unemployment. Let's see what's disguise. A street vendor in the city. Okay, so basically two different types of employment examples are given to us. Now, taking this forward, let us try answering this question. Choose the correct answer. Underemployment occurs when do not want to work, are working in lazy manner, are working less than what they are capable of doing, are not paid for their work. So answer is something that all of us knows. Underemployment occurs when people are working less than what they are capable of doing. Now it says compare and contrast the changes in India with the pattern that was observed for developed countries. What kind of changes between sectors were desired but did not happen in India? So basically answer to this is very straightforward, that we have all seen and read about it, that primary sector is the base for your secondary and tertiary. On the expense of primary sector, both secondary and tertiary sector is growing. But in order to make India a strong nation, a strong country, that sector that should have been observed, that should have changed more, and that should have grown more, should be your secondary sector. So that is something that needs to be taken care of, and that is something that we have observed, and we both and I think all of us have, with the help of examples, definitions, statements, we have made this conclusion that in order to make India a well-known, a well-developed country like other countries, example USA, UK, the secondary sector, the industrial sector should be something that should be in more rise. Now, why should we be worried about underemployment? So, many people have this thinking that we are rich, why do care about other people? So, we should care about other people, we should care about the term underemployment because it directly affects the earning capacity of person. And if this underemployment situation continued, it will directly lead to, in future, definitely it will lead to poverty. So these are the two sole reasons that why we should be worried about underemployment. Now, how to create more employment? A grain storage facility in an agricultural region. Villagers are employed in infrastructure development to boost tourism. Okay, so they are basically over here provided with jobs. The right to work and NREGA, try to read it in caps. If you want to read it all together, then it will be NREGA. Now, the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, NREGA, 2005 guarantees 100 days of wage employment in a year by the government. So this is a very well-known initiative that was taken by government, that every unemployed person will be getting an employment for 100 days where they will be paid. Moving forward, we are having a question that why do you think MGNREGA 2005 is referred to as right to work? So it generally is referred to as right to work because in this whole initiative, government guarantees that if government fails to pay, if government fails to provide the employment that the government is actually guaranteeing in this initiative, then government itself will be providing the allowance. The unemployment allowance is the name. Unemployment allowance will be provided by the government to the people. This is the sole reason that why it is also referred to as right to work. Imagine that you are the village head. Okay, now this is nice. Most of us are thinking, okay, we are head. Now, In that capacity, suggest some activities that you think should be taken up under this act that would also increase the income of the people. So basically, over here in this question, they are asking us that we need to suggest some activities that will improve the village. On the other hand, it will help people to earn income. So very clearly, the first and the basic things is the roads. Roads of the village should be developed properly. Okay. Second thing is that sometimes it happens that there is drought scenarios, right? So proper construction should be done. Apart from that, you can also think of, that some or the other working that women needs help with, again related to construction, can also be done. So basically, it's something that you can also write your own points. It's not necessary to write these. That the basic idea of this question is that we have to give points where there is social welfare, and for that social welfare of the village, of the economy of the village, the workers are being paid. So this is the whole idea. Moving forward, how would income and employment increase if farmers were provided with irrigation and marketing facilities? So this question is very straightforward and very direct. That if income and employment increases, uh, if farmers were provided with irrigation and marketing facilities, so how would this happen? So basically, if our farmers will be provided with proper facilities, then they will be gaining, they will be the grains that they'll be yielding, so they'll be of good, they'll be of good quality, and then when they'll be selling it into the market at the market prices, then they'll be earning profit. So this will definitely become, good for them as well, since they are also earning well. Once the grains are being sold to a secondary sector, then people are needed in the industries to further transform them. So this is how, again coming to my point, that primary sector is the base for both secondary and tertiary. So this is how primary sector will directly be affecting the income and employment, and it will only happen only and only if the farmers will be provided with proper facilities, because many farmers are denied the proper access to all of these facilities that are being talked over here. So moving forward, in what ways can employment be increased in urban areas? So in urban areas, problem can be solved if there'll be the companies, the industries that have been settled in these areas that are provided with proper incentives. Apart from that, if the people who are living in these areas, if they'll be given proper education, then they'll be also getting job opportunities. And also you can say that providing incentives to the industries that are providing mass job employment, that are providing employment to the masses, to many people, not just few people who are living in that area, but to many people who are living in that area. So in this way, basically employment can be increased in urban areas.